bring it right now. Democratic Senator and presidential candidate Christopher Dodd and his wife Jackie and a cast of thousands.
Yes.
You brought him along with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me tell you something. If there's a spark from one of the machines and Java Joe starts to go up,
you're in good shape. You're in good hands, I'll tell you.
All right, I want to start by asking this question because we were after the Pakistan situation last Friday. We talked to you, and I sat there and I listened to you. And about 3 minutes in, I said, of all the candidates out there, this is the guy who understands what's going on, who knows what we need to do, who's been studying this. It's been your life for 26 years. How do you get that message across to voters when everybody else is speaking in sound bites and pushing 30-second commercials?
Well, it's getting through, Joe. And Iowa here, there is such a deliberate process. I mean, this takes, we've done 26 cities in about 6 days, another day today across the state, and people are listening. That event a week or so ago with the assassination of Benazir Bhutto had a tremendously sobering effect here. I can just feel it. That people are stepping back. People who even made decisions on candidates they were supporting are stepping back and saying, I ought to give this more thought. This is a dangerous world, and we better be very careful about who we select to go forward from Iowa here to New Hampshire. So I actually think in the midst of a tragedy, it's actually had the effect of making people think longer and harder about this process. And that's exactly what we've been looking for. This can't be an elocution contest, and it can't be a contest of how many celebrities you can bring to Iowa. It's got to be about whether or not you bring some talent, ability, experience, producing results, understanding these issues. And that's what I think Iowans really focus on.
You know, one of the things that concerned me right after the assassination, you had candidates on the right and the left, Republicans and Democrats. You could tell they were swinging for the fences, hoping to get votes, but saying, we've got to drive Musharraf out now, we've got to have elections next week. That's insanity.
Yeah, of course it is.
That's insanity, and yet voters listen to them, they applaud. Does that make you nervous?
Well, a little bit, and it was you're right on the head. I mean, the idea that you drive Musharraf out.
And you're not saying he's an angel.
No,
you're not saying that he's Thomas Jefferson, but at the same time.
What's the alternative?
Yeah.
You know, the old expression we heard from our mothers, the devil you know and the devil you don't know.
Right. And power abhorring a vacuum? Vacuum there? My God.
And those weapons are usable immediately. In the wrong hands, you've just changed the total world dynamic here. And we're one person away from that happening to a group of people who would use them, I think, for the very worst reasons. And so it's very, very important you have stability and get this right.
And I think in 24 hours with the assassination of Benazir Bhutto, the dynamic of the campaign certainly changed.
It did, no question about it.
We stopped talking about Christmas commercials, didn't we?
Yeah. Well, we can talk about those again if you want.
No, let's talk about Pakistan.
We should, actually. But this was an issue that you came out in front. You had no problem, decades on the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. This is something that you're well versed on. And you have some pretty strong opinions about the Bush administration's approach to Pakistan in terms of what's transpired over the past 9 months in this reconciliation and this forced situation between Bhutto and Musharraf, which may have ultimately not really worked out so well, even backfired.
Well, it was a combination of things, Mika. I think it was one, loading up Musharraf and handing over to him the responsibility of dealing with the Taliban, the resurgence of the Taliban, Al-Qaeda, in western Pakistan and eastern Afghanistan. That was asking a lot of him. And then secondly, trying to all of a sudden sort of cobble together a relationship that just wasn't natural to begin with between Benazir Bhutto and Musharraf. Had they started that a longer time ago, brought her into the picture over a period of several years, you might have been able to achieve that result.
Some sort of a result.
Yeah, but this way to kind of force this thing into this in this very constrained time arrangement here.
Well, we don't really understand the depths of the antagonisms at play.
Oh, it goes long back and very historic and very deep in the country.
But again, though, there's not, and I think you said this also, not a lot of great options with Pakistan.
No, they're not.
If you're president of the United States, Republican or Democrat, Musharraf's there. He's a stabilizing force, or has been. Right. So I guess the question is, what do you do moving forward?
And the military. The key here is that the military control the nuclear weapons.
By the way, is Pakistan a bit like Turkey in that the military has always been sort of a stabilizing force? And
there was a period, Joe, not many years ago, where we cut off all assistance to Pakistan, going back to what was called the Glenn Amendment.
And why did we do that?
Well, because we were concerned about the nuclear weapons program in the country, and so there was a cutoff of assistance. And you have a cadre of junior officers, they're not junior any longer, that are very hostile to the United States because of that relationship at that period of time. They're still there. Now, most of that military has a fairly good relationship with the United States, but there is a group that, frankly, during that period of time, that had virtually no relationship with us whatsoever, and they're still around, and they could pose a difficult problem for us.
Now, I'm from Florida.
Yeah.
I'm in Connecticut. I'm in Iowa.
You're in Iowa.
You all are from Connecticut.
This is heaven.
Yeah, heaven, baby. At least for the next 3 days. You all are from Connecticut, but you have moved to Iowa.
Absolutely
Residents.
right. It was a family decision.
Set it up.
Why did you decide to do that, though?
Well, it's pretty simple, and maybe your travel situation explains a lot of it too, where you
My canceled
arrive late,
flight
you
and
arrive
lost
without
bag.
your bags, or you spend a lot of time in Midwest airports, which are lovely, but you don't meet a lot of caucus goers there. And we have a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old, and it was a great decision to come here as a family, because then we could travel all around the state. I could go one direction, Chris could go another, but we could be with the children every day. So for our family, this made a real good decision.
And the children are enrolled in the schools? I mean, you're a full resident?
Christina's only
The little
2.
one, no.
Yeah. Gracie is in the kindergarten at Hannawalt Elementary, just up the road here. And it's a lovely little public school, and she's had a great time. So we feel like it was a wonderful decision, and we fretted over it a lot, going back and forth. But, you know, we're not in hotels. We have a washer and a dryer, and with a 2-year-old, that's pretty important in your life.
Yes, I hear you. And not dragging them through
And a
airports.
lot of people, we've had family come and stay with us, staff members have stayed with us.
We have staff people staying at
so
the
it's really
house.
actually, it's economic as well in terms of the hotel costs.
It's
But
been
the
a great
idea of actually
decision.
being in a neighborhood, I'll tell you an added element which we did not think about. It's when you go to the grocery store to shop, when you go down to that corner drugstore, you get a different feel for a place. And so it's, with all due respect to hotel rooms and room service, the idea of being in a community, in a neighborhood, got to know our neighbors fairly well, got to know the neighborhood fairly well, attended churches in the area. The people couldn't have been more gracious to us and more hospitable and warm. So it really, for 6 weeks, really worked very, very well.
Yeah. Well, I covered you as a reporter in Connecticut for many years,
Many
and
years.
little did I know I'd end up with you in Iowa one day. So it's been a pleasure.
With a bunch of firefighters.
We've been a great group. They've been with me from the very beginning. These are loyal guys and decided to endorse me early on. I'll never forget them for it. Been tremendously helpful. And these guys, when they stick with you, they stick with you. Couldn't have a better bunch.
All right,
guys.
Boots on the ground.
Thank you so much for being here, guys.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you,
Greatly
Joe.
appreciate it. Mrs. Dodd, greatly appreciate it.
It's nice to
Good luck.
Good to see you again. Yeah, nice to see you. Good luck with your luggage, too, Mika.
Yeah. Boy, she looks like she needs it, doesn't she? You should have heard of Russ here. Just ruthless. All right, when we come back, Frank Rich.
Is Frank here?